Now, ABC 6 News at noon on your side.
If you've been outside today, you know the feeling. Just like the Ospreys say, storms are definitely on the way. So let's get right over to Jim for a look at the weather. Jim?
Aren't you sick of this?
What, the weather?
I know, every day storms are on the way.
Yeah.
Last night's storms have moved off to the south of us, showers in the southern part of the state. There are a couple of light showers developing along Interstate 70, but as I look to the northwest, notice out here in the northwestern part of the state and into Indiana, that's the cold front, and that's where storms are developing now. So by afternoon, by the time they get here, there is a risk of severe weather again this afternoon and evening with wind and hail, the primary risk out of this incoming event again. Overall, we'll watch the line off to the northwest as it continues to develop and heads into our direction. Temperature 75 degrees, so no problem there. But through the evening, we're going to have storms. We do have some good news. It'll turn cooler, drier, and less humid tomorrow. And when you wake up in the morning, it'll be about 60 degrees. And Terry, by the way, Upper Arlington had an inch of rain Saturday. They had 2 inches of rain last night. Plain City had 3 inches of rain last night.
Wow, it was coming down there. All right, thanks, Jim. People in Texas got their own round of severe weather. Check out the size of this hail in El Paso. People who live there say they've never seen this much hail. Here's a look at some of the damage. You can see the windows are completely broken out. That storm caused several power outages in the area, and officials say more than 1,000 people were in the dark at the peak of the storm. A new appeal from Ohio State University searching for anyone who may have been sexually victimized by a former athletic trainer. Tom Bosco is live at Ohio Stadium to show us the latest effort to clear the air about this now deceased doctor. Tom?
Terry, hundreds of thousands of Ohio State alumni got an email yesterday from OSU's president asking them to come forward with anything they know about these sexual allegations against a former trainer. Take a look. Here is the letter from Dr. Michael Drake, OSU's president, asking any alumni who attended OSU from the mid-70s to the late 90s and even into the 2000s to bring forward any information about Dr. Richard Strauss. Now, Strauss was employed here during that period. He treated student athletes, but he also worked at the Student Health Center, so there's a possibility he may have treated other students who weren't athletes. Now, this controversy blew up earlier this month when a former athlete says that Strauss conducted inappropriate examinations of students while he was here. Strauss died in 2005. Now, the email yesterday went out to 112,000 alumni who were here between 1978 and 2001. It's all part of an independent external investigation into the matter. An OSU media spokesperson told me the email was sent out at the urging of the law firm that is doing that external independent investigation. The spokesperson says the intent is to make sure the net is cast as far and as widely as possible and not in response to any new allegations or any possible allegations that may have been missed. I've got more on this coming up at 12:30, but for now, reporting live at Ohio Stadium, I'm Tom Bosco, ABC 6 News.
Thanks, Tom. Police in Texas say more schools across the state are facing threats after last week's shooting in Santa Fe. Today, the governor is holding a roundtable discussion on how to stop the school violence. Maggie Rulli has the latest details.
We're now learning more about what happened inside Santa Fe High School when the gunfire broke out last Friday. The Galveston County Sheriff revealing those crucial moments officers were caught in a firefight with the suspected gunman as students were evacuating.
The 2 officers that engaged that individual within 4 minutes or approximately 4 minutes, they're heroes. They contained him in that one area, isolated to them, engaging with them.
One of those officers, John Barnes, remains in the hospital.
He's still not out of the woods, and his family still needs prayers and prayers for a healthy recovery.
More than 200 officers responded to the school, ending the ordeal after 25 long and terrifying minutes.
We could hear him going back and forth, shooting multiple times. And then it got silent, and he said woohoo, and he was cheering himself on.
It's a tragedy that's touched nearly everyone in the community. The sheriff revealing his own granddaughter was just 3 doors away from where bullets were flying.
Anybody wants to hear their heart stop and see how long they cannot breathe? Wait till that phone call comes in. Until you know they're safe.
This morning, the alleged gunman's under suicide watch at the Galveston County Jail, charged with capital murder. His father claims his son was bullied, telling Greek TV, "What happened, I can't even say. Nonetheless, I'm saying what I suspect as a father because I have lost my son." Texas Governor Greg Abbott announced he's going to be hosting a series of roundtable discussions about how to make schools safer and more secure in his state. The first one starts this afternoon. Maggie Bruley, ABC News, New York.
Today, several first responders will be reunited with the patients they saved. Emergency medical services providers are being honored at the ODOT auditorium in about an hour. And many patients will be there as well, including a boy who was saved from drowning in a fish pond, a man who lost a leg, and a 12-year-old whose arm had been cut off by a table saw, who now has his arm reattached and has movement in his fingers. When the opening bell rings Friday, the New York Stock Exchange will have a new president. Stacey Cunningham is set to become the first female president of the NYSE. She started as a floor clerk more than 20 years ago and worked her way up, most recently as chief operating officer. She is one of just 4 female executives of the stock exchange's parent company. The teenager who started this wildfire in Oregon last year now owes the state more than $36 million. He says he threw fireworks into the woods while hiking on the Eagle Creek Trail last fall. One of the fireworks ignited, starting the fire that burned more than 48,000 acres. His attorney says this new penalty is, quote, absurd. The judge's ruling does say he can pay off as much as he can over the next 10 years, and after that, the payments can stop if he completes his probation and doesn't commit any other crimes. Close to 100 firefighters battled massive 4-alarm fire overnight in Cincinnati. You can see the flames shooting out of the building. It is a factory that makes linens and fabrics. Crews were finally able to get it under control around 1 this morning. Our sister station in Cincinnati says this is the 3rd time that building has been destroyed. The house where serial killer Sean Great lived in will likely be torn down. The mayor of Ashland expects prosecutors to give him permission to have it demolished. It's become a memorial for the 2 victims who died there, Stacy Stanley and Elizabeth Griffith. Prosecutors wanted the house to remain intact until Great's trial came to an end.
Throughout the trial and so on, it's still a crime scene. And I think people wanted to make sure that all the evidence was left intact.
A jury convicted Great of just 2 of the murders, but police say he did admit to others and he could get the death penalty when he's sentenced June 1st. Imagine if baseball was still played the way it was 150 years ago, where you can see just how it used to look in action tonight coming up.
The pain is insane, but you don't cry. You're more focused on just not dying at that point.
A surgeon saved a man's life after his lung was punctured by a bullet in the Las Vegas massacre. But it's the unique connection between the doctor and the patient that you definitely have to hear about.